Hey, I'm Jordan, and this is my second video essay for the viral video module here at the University of Liverpool. Today we'll be exploring the various processes and commitments I've had to take responsibility for in the past semester. This video essay aims to address the argument that positive group cooperation is an essential tool to make sure that a group can exceed its goals and achieve any expected outcomes. What we will be assessing in this semester is vastly different to semester 1, in the sense that I've been working in two separate 5-member groups as opposed to independently. Production values are still being assessed this semester. However, there's a much bigger focus on group interaction, delegation, and making sure that the entire group has a strong work ethic. Over the next 15 minutes, we will identify my responsibilities in each group and critically assess each one. We will then explore the two published videos in terms of their suitability for clients and their visual appeal. Finally, we will judge the success of the group's social media promotions and then take a holistic view at the entire year and draw some final conclusions. If you're watching this video on YouTube, use the links below in the description to jump to different sections of the video essay. Let's get started. The first point of call this semester was to meet the other members of the team. We were put into two different teams, each one given a different brief, so that each student in each group was working on two separate videos. Groups were allocated based on the results of a short personality trait test. These personality traits are laid out in dichotomies referenced by Amato and Amato. They make an interesting point about the conflicting habits of different personality types. For example, extroverts, who prefer collaborative efforts, may see introverts who prefer internal processing as free riders. I found that in Group A, a lot of our personality types were the same. In our initial meeting, we discussed any differences or any obstacles, and I felt that our conversations were on the whole very constructive. The same could not be said of Group B. Finding a time to meet was quite difficult, in that they were meeting with their other groups. When we arranged a time, communication proved to be quite difficult, and this hindered our ability to form what Amato and Amato refer to as a team contract. Nonetheless, I tried to replicate the same level of leadership across both groups. We hadn't received any resources by this point, so I put together a short meeting minutes document that the entire team could fill out. We discussed each other's plans for the final video and had a look at the client's briefs together. I felt that my ability to plan and organise really came about after meeting the team. As I'd taken quite an extroverted role at the start, I quickly assumed the leadership role in both teams. I felt that it was necessary to implement rigorous administration and make sure that after each meeting that we had a follow-up contact with each other. That way, not only were we achieving our assessment criteria, but we were also making sure that each member of the team felt valued and that they were on the same level footing. They also knew what actions that they needed to take after the meeting. Being organised is something which I was aware that I needed to work on, so having this opportunity to practice organisation has proved quite handy as I'm about to embark onto my graduate placement next year. I felt that by providing the team with solid organisation would mean that they had complete freedom to do whatever they wanted, but also feel confident in supporting the team. This echoes advice by Brian Tracy, who says making people feel valued is at the centre of being a good leader. The most important aspect of our group work was that we were working for clients. Everything we did, whether that was asking for feedback, communicating, or simply making a really key decision, was about making sure that the client felt satisfied and was happy with the overall product. Group A were tasked with producing a video for Colu. Group B were tasked with producing a video for the local community newspaper Scotty Press. In each group, we brainstormed a few ideas before selecting two to put forward to the client. In putting the pitch packs together, each member of the team was responsible for a different section. I was responsible for putting together the storyboards. However, at the time, as the only native speaker in each of the groups, I was also responsible for making sure that the pitch packs had been completely proofread before sending. I used my pre-existing skills in Photoshop in order to construct a storyboard which would give the client a realistic idea of what to expect. I devised logos for each team to make sure that our communications were not only professional but also consistent. The feedback that we received from clients was on the whole quite positive and demonstrated that we had been professional in our communications and also gained their trust. This was in spite of the group's lack of experience in dealing with clientele. As this was the aim from the very beginning, I felt that my original idea and the team's collaborative efforts had gone some way into demonstrating that we were qualified for the task. Group work was a major aspect of this semester's work. However, as this was a rare type of assessment, there was a general feeling among some of my peers that group work in our final year would cause some trouble. This worry is illustrated by Mello and Amato, who both demonstrate the positive and negative aspects of group work. They highlight that conflict and differences in opinion can hinder a group's ability to achieve a final product, in this case, the videos. However, they also suggest that sharpening of interpersonal skills and an ability to play with negotiating and confrontation are both incredibly prestigious tools for future employment. There were instances in the groups where there were disagreements. In my B group, there were concerns about commitment and each person's availability, including my own. After some discussion, we felt that it was easier to select key dates for filming and split off into subgroups who could then go off on each of these days and collect footage. The decision was reached after showing a little bit of resilience. I had to be aware of my own responsibilities and commitments. However, I also, at the same time, had to consider the commitments of each member of the group. Techniques of dealing with group scenarios like this have developed over the course of the semester, and particularly an understanding of group structure, which is being discussed by Bruce Tuckman. Equally relevant here is a study by Asch, who found that in groups, the behaviour of each team member is based on their interpersonal relationships. People prefer to be in group, and therefore they may push aside unnecessary opinions and priorities in order to retain approval and in-group status. It also helped in that some members of the team had also built some strong relationships with each other, and they didn't want to let the entire team down. The downside to splitting into subgroups, however, was that weather varied on each of the filming days. We also had a variety of equipment to hand on each of the filming days, and the quality of footage varied. However, we were able to get a valuable amount of footage, and that meant at the editing stage we could select from the best. Therefore, we were able to get the necessary amount of footage to create a suitable video for the client. The group, according to Tuckman, emulated a natural group, a group of people that is put together based on the completion of a task. A lot of the team habits didn't apply in the same way as Tuckman envisaged. However, our team certainly experienced orientation, intra-group conflict, and a development of group cohesion. For example, in Group A, there was a conflict of ideas in that one member of the team preferred one particular idea, and the rest of the team preferred another. This member of the team was quite strong-willed about making sure that their idea was considered. The group compromised and decided to choose both ideas to submit towards the client. The client subsequently picked the least popular idea. In this scenario, the opinion of the client overruled the popular opinion of the group. This led to a fun and light-hearted video that, in hindsight, was perhaps more interesting to watch, even if it was harder to film. Tuckman also makes a point that each of these stages can be ambiguous. So I would argue that what the group's experienced was a completely natural process of the group's evolution. Here, as well, we see the benefits of compromise. After having multiple masterclasses in improving our technical quality over the semester, I made it a priority to make sure that the quality of the videos that we produced this semester were of the highest standard. There was one incident in Group B where, due to the inconsistency of footage, some of the footage was shot in 720p instead of the recommended Full HD 1080p. This caused some pixelation in the final rendering. There were also some issues with camera shake, even with the use of a tripod, and the white balance hadn't been set correctly. The 3 out of 5 members who attended on this edit day, including myself, made the decision to cut the footage from editing and return to the Vauxhall area to recollect more suitable footage. While this was a disappointing blow, in that one of the team members had accepted blame for this, we knew it was necessary to keep the client happy and also continue the high standard that had been exemplified in the rest of the video. The composition of shots was, for the most part, not restrictive. In Group A, 2 members of the team were responsible for the running of the cameras, in that they demonstrated good technical ability in their Semester 1 portfolios. In Group B, the entire team were responsible for shooting both footage and also collecting audio. This was a much more collaborative effort in the sense that we were all responsible for every part of the video. However, this was made possible by a wider choice of equipment available to hand. Buswell, in Marco Amati et al.'s article, states that people's eyes are drawn to clusters of information rather than fixating on random points around a scene. We were, of course, looking for scenes that provided just the right amount of information and a focal point to make sure that people were not overwhelmed with the information that the video was giving them. Following the feedback that I received in Semester 1, I was on the eye out to make sure that none of our footage was overexposed, and made sure that any member of the team who complained about footage that appeared under or overexposed had the support necessary. To provide this support, I made sure that on filming days, I checked out the ISO levels on each of the cameras, as well as checking out the manual settings on my own camera in case we needed a spare additional. This was the first video where the public were invited to be part of our videos. Gaining consent and getting risk assessments sorted were established as whole group responsibilities from the very beginning. We strategically made sure that we had a copy of all forms stored digitally on a Google Drive, and for Group A that we had a letter that explained the group's plan for the video, and also an opportunity for the clients to ask any questions before we worked with them. Once again, this meant that some of our footage had to be cut. One of the stores which we filmed in had some concerns about the use of data, and I made sure that this feedback was passed up to our module convener at the earliest convenience. This concern was in light of recent legislation changes, and it was a completely valid thing to bring up, and something that our group had not considered before starting the project. There were also some concerns I had about the use of iconography when I was putting together the animation for the Group B video. Although the use of social media icons would have made accessing Scotty Press's Twitter and Instagram a lot more recognisable for audiences, since we didn't have the copyright to use them, I felt that using them in the videos was proving to be risky. Therefore, we had to settle on using text for the end screen. Having subsequently received permission to use the icons in the video, if we did this in the future, I would definitely ask for permission earlier on in the process. Not only would this further enhance the visual appeal of the video, but it will also give the video a sense of professionalism and heighten the video's legitimacy in the public domain. Aside from these concerns, we were able to produce 2 fantastic videos that were received well by our clients. Colu had suggested a change to the audio even after signing off, and I took this back to our group. We tried to work out whether it was feasible to make amendments to the video. The idea was that by changing the music, we would make the video seem even more upbeat and more appealing, and match the weather which was seen on screen. However, it was deemed that it was too late to make amendments, and that by doing so, we would be eating away at time to distribute the video online. As such, I responded to the email straight away, making sure that we had explained exactly the reasons why we were using this music and our restrictions on time. Since the client had already signed off, we got on straight away with promoting the video. By uploading both videos before the preliminary deadline, we were able to promote them both for the entire week. For me, I had uploaded my Semester 1 portfolio much earlier than the deadline, in order to accrue as many views and engagements as possible. The same was not possible this semester due to the need to perfect the visual quality of both videos and respond to feedback, which were both time-consuming processes. We also had specific audiences for each of the videos. The Colu video was focused on potential returning shoppers and all lovers of independent retail, whereas the Scotty Press video was aimed at locals and people interested in Liverpool's history. In promoting the videos, I tried to target specific people or Twitter accounts, as I had done in Semester 1, however it did not yield the exact same results. I targeted communications at Barbers Vauxhall, Your Liverpool, Liverpool Council and Councillor Nick Small, and Artisan Liverpool and Utility Design Bold Street, 2 of the stores we worked with the hope of obtaining retweets for the Colu video. I also followed up with emails directly to Artisan and Utility as a way of saying personal thanks and also of targeting in a different format. Aside from this, all our tweets, social media posts and communications use the hashtags ColuLiverpool and Scotty Road at the request of our clients. This was done to grow an organic audience and provide an influx of views that were a direct result of the post's afterlife. There was a peak in viewing figures on the days where there was active promotion from all members of the team. For the Colu video, this was on the 2nd of May, and for the Scotty Press video, this was on the 7th of May. In this way, we can see that active promotion is the key to improving viewing figures. Through the Colu video, the channel obtained an additional 3 subscribers, which I felt demonstrated the magnetic nature of the video. As the video is choppy and energetic, it may have encouraged audiences who were looking for videos that were upbeat and positive to subscribe to the channel in the hope that they would see more. To attract these audiences, both myself and a member of the Group A team made thumbnails for each of the videos. According to Bill Winterberg, this is the best way of promoting your videos, in that you can choose a positive frame, which gives you more control than the preset frames that YouTube offers. It also allows you to restate the title, which is really handy if your audiences are looking at your video on a platform that does not highlight the title as strongly. As we have seen, the engagements on my Colu video were particularly positive. However, if it were not for limited time at our disposal, we would have probably made more, as William Hoyle's study found that a change in thumbnail fractionally increases the number of engagements a video has. This proved to be popular in my Semester 1 videos, where I had more time to change some of the metadata and the thumbnails for each of the videos, which has since grown to an excess of about 700 views in one of the videos. On reflection, this is also something I could have perhaps utilised the skills of my fellow team members for. On a more impressive note, shorter 20-second clips of each of the videos were used in our social media promotions with call to actions that referred the audience back to the full video on the YouTube page. The videos were sent to each member of the team and they could use that how they saw fit. Social media channels have recently introduced autoplay function, and we felt that this particular way of promoting the video would be useful in the sense that it would attract the eyes of anybody scrolling down their timeline. With a lot of these videos achieving well over 100 views in a short space of time, we could speculate that these views led to increased views on the YouTube page. Without this, there is a likelihood that our final videos would not have had much success. Taking on the role of leader is something which, particularly in the last year of university, I've had a lot of practice with. This role is something which I've had a lot of practice in being the head of the university's print magazine and also in my part-time work and graduate recruitment. As I'm about to embark on being a teacher, I can already see the links between leadership and pedagogy, and I can already see how some of these skills will influence my future career. Aside from recognising the 3 emotional needs of each member of the team, outlined by Tracy as dependent, independent and interdependent, being able to display a high level of commitment is also highly valued in the workplace. Tracy has also described the accountability factor of group work to be motivational, and delegation in groups to be actually positive, which goes against my initial views of group work. In light of the argument proposed at the start of this video essay, group collaboration is essential for positive outcomes. With these projects, I felt that my Group A video was more visually appealing and also had a stronger sense of shareability, in that it was more energetic and buoyant. Group B was somewhat more subdued, but we still had positive feedback from the client. My response to each video correlates with my response to each of the groups. I felt that I had a more productive dynamic with Group A than I did with Group B, and this is something that was being apparent from the very beginning of the project. To summarise, this year has provided me with a fantastic platform to try and understand people's emotional needs when working in a group situation, but also to consider my own responses and reactions to situations that couldn't have otherwise be expected. I've also demonstrated resilience, which I feel is a skill that I'll need in any industry in the future. If you would like to learn more about the viral video module here at the University of Liverpool, click the link in the description. You can also take a look at my Semester 1, Semester 2 portfolios using the links either in the description or on screen now. I highly recommend that you do. Thank you for watching and good luck if you're about to start the module.